All right, so here we are trialing the first Wednesday night meditation breathwork Qigong session for Hoshinden Jutaijutsu on the 26th of August. Whoa, and this is session number 17 according to my little random numbers. I think I might have duplicated 2 or 3 of them. I hope that you're well in internet land, and we're going to get started. So I said last week, I made it pretty clear in the previous week for that we're really starting to move away from the whole hour doing base practice now and getting further into just the microcosmic orbit. Spent a lot of time, like 15 hours or something, slowly trudging through a lot of sense observation practice. So what we're going to do is we'll just build in with our usual 5 sense observation, and then I will get us straight into the, microcosmic orbit. We'll have a bit of fun as I'm pushing buttons on my screen. Okay. So breathing in through the nose, down into the belly. And breathing out through the mouth. We'll just get settled in first of all. So just taking a moment as you breathe in and out. Just start to allow the breath to shape the body. So the inward breath in through the nose, down into the belly, stretches out the ribs. Stretches the muscles behind the back and the kidneys. Exhaling out through the mouth. Tongue sits on the roof of the mouth, behind the top 2 front teeth. And your eyes can be opened or closed. So just get ready for the next hour. So we'll move through these quite quickly. We're going to start with the sense of audible observation. So when you take your attention to the sounds that you can hear. As you breathe in and out. And you just allow the breath to shape the body and the structure of the torso. The breath changes the way your shoulders sit. Just let them relax into their new position. And don't try to hold on to a good upright picture of, the pictures we see in some spiritual magazine. You just sit in a way that is comfortable for your body. Head sits on the shoulders, which sit over the hips, so that there's a skeletal structure. And your head shouldn't weigh anything. Your shoulders shouldn't weigh anything. It should all just be held by the skeleton. So breathing in and out, I want you to take your attention to the sounds that you can hear outside the space. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more breath. Now we're going to change the level of focus. So we're going to be listening to the sounds we can hear around us, in our same room or very close to the body. 3 breaths, breathing in and out. Does your own breath become heightened? Volume? Now moving your attention to the eardrum. I want you to listen to the sound of yourself hearing. 3 breaths. Off we go. And just relaxing the focus on the audible sense. So now we're going to move to the sense of smell. And we'll stick each of these for 3 breath cycles. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. What can you smell out there in the surrounding space? And now, what can you smell very close to the body? Your clothing, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And now, can you smell the inside of the nose? Can you smell the throat? Can you smell the smell receptors themselves? Breathing in and out. Now softening the focus on the sense of smell. We're going to move our attention to the sense of taste. So breathing in and out in through the nose, down into the belly. You might want to breathe out through the nose for this one, or very slowly out through the mouth. So you can explore taste. What can you taste as a fragrance in the air around you in the room? 3 breaths, breathing in and tasting. Two more breaths. Now as we continue our breathing and our exploration of taste, we're going to take the taste in very close into the mouth. So the question is, now what can you taste inside the mouth? Flavors, textures. Breathing in and out. Feel free to breathe out through the nose for this one, if it helps. One more breath. Now take our attention to the taste buds. What is the taste of the tongue itself? 3 breaths, off we go. And just relaxing the focus on the taste sensation. So now we're going to move on to the sensation of sight. You can have your eyes open or closed for this. If they're open, staring into oblivion, staring beyond the wall or the window or whatever it is that's in front of you. And you're interested in your peripheral vision coming into play, quite wide. If your eyes are closed, I want you to look beyond the inside of the eyelid. So peer out and penetrate further than the eyelid itself. It's a good practice in focus. As we breathe in and out, and the question is, what can you see? It's a very broad question. 3 breaths. Now we're going to focus on a different layer. So we're going to bring the focus closer. Eyes open or closed. If they're open, you need something very close on the boundary of your ability to focus. Or if your eyes are closed, it's easier for this one. You're focusing on the inside of the eyelid. The shapes, the projection of colors and geometries that form on the inside of the eyelid. Question again is, what can you see? 3 breaths, off we go. Now for the last layer of vision, eyes open or closed. The question is, can we see the tissue of the eye? Just like we were hearing the eardrum, tasting the taste buds, tasting the tongue. Can we see the eye? Can you see the optics? Breathe in and out. 3 breaths, off we go. And just relaxing the focus on vision. All right, moving on to the last of the 5 senses. We're going to be looking at tactile sense, so wherever the body meets the ground. If you're seated, if you're lying down, if you're in seiza, you choose a section of the body, an area that is in contact with the ground. And we're going to look at the experience of pressure when the body meets the ground. 3 breaths, off we go. Now we're going to focus on the actual skin of a small area, maybe a 5-cent piece sized area. Somewhere on the body, you can start where the body meets the ground if you like, or if you have something else that's grabbing your attention, an itch, or a wound, or a bruise, or something, a draft, and it's tickling a part of the skin. Take your attention anywhere in your body that you wish. The goal for this next part is to actually look at the experience of the skin, of the tissue itself. So 3 breaths. Question is, what can you feel on a tactile level? And now the last of those levels, we're going to observe the experience of something that's in contact with the body, the clothing, the ground, even your hair, separate from the portion of the body that's in contact with it. So, for example, I was looking at my left knee just then, and I'm going to focus on the clothing of the pants that I'm wearing, and whether I can discern the texture of those pants separate from the feeling on the skin on the leg. Off we go. And just relaxing there, softening the focus, any of the 5 senses, and just return to your breathing, in through your nose, down into your belly, out through your mouth. So at the end of this video, after the session that I'm presenting and the recording of that, I'll stop the recording and then we can have a social catch-up to dialogue about any of these experiences. So if you've got feedback or if there's certain experiences in that first part of tonight, we can chat about that at the end of the video. Now we're going to move straight into the microcosmic orbit again. So we're going to start up at the face or the head. People who are new to this usually start on the face because it's easy to find something on the face that can grab your attention in a tactile sense. If you've been doing this for a while and you want a bit of challenge, you can move to somewhere like the tops of the ears. That's always a funny one. Or the very top of the head or the back of the skull. Somewhere that's a little bit more difficult to isolate the tactile sense, the nervous system response. I'll just give you a moment to just scan your head as you breathe. You're looking for somewhere to start, somewhere that you can either you have the ability to generate the focus of the nervous system response, or there's something that can be like a bit of a seed to start it off with, maybe an itch or the movement of musculature. I'll just give you a few moments to find somewhere to start. Okay, we'll just walk through a bit of a practice round before we get into the endless looping. So we'll take a full breath in and out, and then in again, and then we'll descend from the head down through the body, just observing experience as we go through the matter of the body down into the feet. And we'll want to be at the feet by the time we finish the exhalation. So we'll do a full breath in and out up at the head, breathing in and out, breathing in. And now we drop through the body in our exhalation, descending through the trunk, down through the body, touching little moments of reflected observation, down into the feet at the end of the outward breath, ready to breathe in at the feet, in and out. And I'll just give you 2 or 3 more breaths at the feet to just find some reference in the feet, somewhere you want to focus. Maybe the bottom of the feet, or the heels, or the balls of the feet, or the toes, or the tops of the feet, or the ankles, or the bone, or whatever. Just keenly looking at the feet for tactile sensation, nervous system feedback. And now we'll start up progression. So a full breath in and out at the feet, in through the nose, out through the mouth, still at the feet. Now in again. And breathing out, up the body, back up to the face. Until the end of the exhalation, at the head somewhere where you can feel the tactile sense. And then breathing in. And down. We'll do this one more time. So we'll just give you a moment to catch your breath. I know it's hard when I'm forcing you into my timing for this. After the next practice round, we'll head off on our own timing. So just bear with me. Focusing in on the feedback and the sense of tactile sensation anywhere in the head that you want to look at. So I'm currently looking at the top of the ears, and they tingle and they buzz. Had this very like lifting feeling. It's quite funny. Okay, so we're going to take a big breath in through the nose, down into the belly. Out through the mouth. And in again, up at the head. Now we exhale, drawing down through the body. Just looking for sensation as you go, like a waterfall, dropping off a cliff, down, 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 in the legs, down into the feet. So you're there by the end of the exhalation, ready to breathe in at the feet. And down. And just give you a few more breaths to find your reference at the feet again. Buzzing, tingling, even numb is a sensation. Don't write off the edges of observation. If you can't penetrate the center of something, it'll have an edge. Start at the edge. All right, so we'll take a full breath in and out, still at the feet. In we go. And out, still at the feet. And in, still at the feet. And exhaling, drawing up the body. Following along sensation up the trunk, up the torso. Back up towards the head. Getting ready to breathe in at the head again. And just relaxing the control of the breath. So in just a moment, we'll get started in this cycle. So hopefully now you've got a reference for somewhere in the head that you'd like to start at and return to. Some reference that's maybe easy for you to recall. You've also got some reference at the feet that's easy to just sink your mind into. If nothing else during this process, if you can't feel any progression of sensation through the body, the minimum 2 points that you're looking for are sensation at the head, your chosen focus point, and sensation at the feet, whatever it is that's at your chosen reference point. And just begin there. If that's all that you find for months, that's fine. By the end of those months, you'll be damn good at those little reference points. If you are starting to be able to feel glimpses of sensation up and down the body as the breath moves, and your focus moves up and down the trunk, that's great. You just continue slowly to add more and more points. It's like doing a dot to dot. You know, a 2-point dot to dot is good. It's quite boring. 1,000-point dot to dot can be really interesting, really intriguing. So as we breathe in and out, we're going to start up at the head. And to make this one easier for you, we'll do a full breath in and a breath out. And then a breath in. And then the exhalation, we're going to start dropping through the body, down into the feet. And then as soon as you're in the feet, breathing in, coming back up the body, up to the head. And breathing out, down the body, down towards the feet. And then breathing in, up the body, up towards the head. And breathing out, down towards the feet. And we'll just start this little loop. Just catch up when you're able to. Breathing in, up from the feet, up to the head. You don't have to stick to my timing. Do your own timing with your own breath. Out. In. And now, so you're starting to just get this wave sensation. We're still going to the feet. Head to the feet. And up. And down. And up. And down. Now we're going to count our inward breath. 4 counts. Breathing in. And out for 4. And in for 4. And out for 4. Down the body. And in for 4. And out for 4. And in for 4. And out for 4. And in for 4. And out for 4. And now double, in for 8. And out for 8. And in for 8. And now that you've just got this pattern of counting, and out for 8, you should be able to put some more focus, in for 8, on the sensations moving up and down the body. And out for 8. And in. And out. And in. And out. And in. And out. And in. And out. And now with your eyes closed or open, and you just continue this very gentle breath cycle. We're going to change our cycle from the head now to the perineum. So the very base of the torso, right under the trunk, under the spine, between the anus and the genitals, right where a line, as if the top of your head, there was a straight line from there all the way down through your body and out the perineum. Your head sits on top of your shoulders, which sit on top of your hips. Now we're going to be breathing in and out in this little orbit of the torso and the trunk. So wherever you're at, continuing, I'm going to start again. I'm breathing in And I can feel my face, and I'm going to breathe out down the body. So there's a lot less to work with now in the longer breath. Ending at the perineum, and then underneath, and then breathing in. And out. And in. And out. And in. And out. And in. And out. And in. And hold the breath. And just observe how the heartbeat becomes apparent. And focus on the sensations, maybe at the head or the perineum, wherever you're at. And now breathing out again. The last of the breath. And you're breathing in again. And down. And in. And down. And in. And down. And in. Hold the breath. And observe the heartbeat and the rhythms of the body without the breath. And breathing out. And in. And holding the breath. Just watching the heartbeat and the rhythms of the body with curiosity. And breathing out. And now continuing just for a few more minutes in your own timing. I won't call the in and out with breath. I'm just cycling this microcosmic orbit. And as we're breathing, I want you to imagine 2 little balls, glowing some color of your preference. And they're cycling opposite one another, starting at the head and the perineum, and then they switch places. As you continue to breathe in and out. And through your imagination, as these little balls of colored light roll over or through parts of your body, use that like a pencil and track the sensation observation. As we spend a few minutes breathing, practicing the microcosmic orbit. Taking your final breath. And at the end of the exhalation, just softening your focus, letting your mind relax, letting go of the concentration, and just allowing your breath to return to whatever cycle it wishes. You might find that in the back of your mind, still as you breathe, there's little tingling of experience and maybe even this perception of the microcosmic orbit just kind of softly going on in the background like a ghost. So that's fine. You can just leave it doing its thing if you like. But we're just going to start wrapping up the video and the practice for tonight. And I'll just have a chat about a few things that we did tonight. So you just let that go on in the background if you would like, but no need to keep focusing on it. So the microcosmic orbit, itself is just a tool. It's nothing fancy. None of them are particularly fancy. And what you start to come to have the experience of over time is that there's very little going on. And there's been a lot of over the millennia, there's been lots of commentary given to this sense or this state. So what we would tend to call existentialism. It's been commented on over the decades and centuries and millennia from people who are involved in meditation and observation, that there's this strange dichotomy of really listening to the world with greatness and realizing that there's not really a lot happening. And conversely, the whole universe is happening. But when we listen, we just kind of hear the sounds of rhythm and motion. We hear things happening, events, people talking maybe. There's cars or the wind and the trees. And when we dwell into the senses, we smell fragrances and aromas, and we taste aroma. We sense the tactile sensation of weight and solidness. And there's not much in those that creates narrative or human story. Those are just happenings. And some people can find that quite disconcerting. They can find like a sense of loneliness or almost like a sense of sadness, that there's kind of just not much going on. And it's really fascinating, you know, especially we're very fast paced in our culture, and it can be a little bit of a withdrawal process from drama sometimes and from activity. To find that there's not much going on can be really quite disconcerting. And so there's no particular panacea for that. It's just the observation, and you have a bit of a laugh at how you respond to that. And then you'll find that as you chill out about that, you'll find that there are other layers. You know, suddenly you'll discover that there's great intricacies going on. You'll become incredibly fascinated by what you can hear. And 2 or 3 hours of listening meditation fly by, you realize that you've just subdivided and detailed every sound within a kilometer radius of your present position. And it's been like, you've been completely consumed by it. And so you'll find that it probably bounces around. At the moment, unless some of you have been doing these practices for a long time, or in different areas and different places through different backgrounds, you're probably still at the stage where you're having to focus on breath and the pattern, especially if you're new to sense observation, tactile sense observation. You're probably still having to actually manually kind of walk your way through the body, looking at observation of sensation. So it's like the start of the martial art journey. There's so much to think about. You know, you're thinking about your feet and your hands and your elbows and your spine and where you're looking and rotating. There's no time to be thinking about your emotions in that, or about your mental process. You're busy. You still don't know where to put your legs and your feet. And over time, through practice, you stop thinking about your feet because you just know where to place your feet. You've taught yourself the geometric shapes and angles, and you just place your feet, and that frees up a part of your cognition. And so suddenly now you're thinking a lot about the hands and the arms and the motion. And then eventually you stop thinking about the hands, and then you start thinking about the spine. And eventually you'll stop thinking about the spine. And then you'll start having time while you're moving through space. You'll start having time to feel how you're feeling emotionally, or what your mental process is and how you're thinking. And but each of them are a different kind of abstracted layer of experience. And so don't be surprised if it takes 6 months or a year or 2 years in the very simple breathing practices before you find that you sit down and you start the process and you're really not thinking about breath at all, and yet you're breathing. And you're not really thinking about looking for physical sensation, and yet you're drawing this kind of liquid sense of tactile sensation constantly through the body. And they'll just slowly become little pebbles along the way that can support you then asking really fascinating questions. You know, you're sitting in that process and the question is like, wow, what can I hear? And you start to realize that you're hearing things that aren't actually sounds. You know, you're hearing a sense of blood pressure, you know, in the brain, or you're kind of hearing that tinnitus. You can't really locate that to an object or an event outside. Or perhaps tactilely, you're having an experience that isn't actually grounded in the physical experience. So that thing that often happens with the heartbeat when we get into our meditation, then we hold our breath and the heartbeat becomes super visceral. And it can really feel like, I've said this a few times, it can feel like if you're quite focused, it feels like you're rocking back and forward. You feel like you're being pulsed. And if you open your eyes, you realize that your body is completely still. And yet, with your eyes closed, you could have sworn that you were about to hurl your head through the window and back through the wall and through the window. And so it opens up a whole other level of really interesting questions where you start to engage. What are these experiences that I'm having when I can have them across the 5 sensations? And yet I can show myself that they're not grounded in the physical experience that I'm having externally. And they lead into each other. It's a beautiful adventure. So we'll probably leave the session there. I'll finish up the recording. So for those of you who are staying on in the Zoom chat, we can have a little social catch up. And I'm keen to, you know, part of the Zoom chat, why I'm moving to these instead of Facebook Live, it's because I'd love to hear about your experiences through all these, if you have experiences you would like to share. For those of you who are watching this at home in the future, this is the end of this session. So tune in through the YouTube page or the Facebook page for Friday night's Hoshinden Philosophy and Theory chat, and next Wednesday's meditation session. There'll be Zoom sessions from now on, and the recordings of these will go up on the YouTube page for those who don't have Facebook access. So for those who are finishing up from the future, have fun. See you next time. For those who are staying on, we'll keep chatting. Bye, everyone else.